Welcome back to the Relaxing Ghost channel here on YouTube. Today we got episode 32 of the Attitude Era pay-per-view review series, Survivor Series 1999, Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. This actually had very good build to it. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out too well, as you know, this show definitely took a wrong turn somewhere. Man. Yeah, the Austin Rock Triple H triple threat match was very anticipated match after SummerSlam 99. Austin drops the title and Triple H becomes champion, and this was definitely the wrong move to build Austin up in this match. It took away from the main event. It even hurt the show, I believe. There was no matches on Sunday Night Heat from what I watched on the video here. I do have this one on custom DVD. It had Heat, only about an hour or so of Sunday Night Heat. So if there was a match in the first hour, I'm not sure. But just a lot of pre-match interviews and promo packages on Heat. Show opens up. We got actually quite a few Survivor Series elimination matches on here, which I was surprised by. I only seen this pay-per-view a couple of times before. It's not my all-time favorite pay-per-view or anything like that. It's not the greatest Survivor Series that happened. So I think we got 3 or 4 Survivor Series elimination matches here. 4-on-4 they did, which I like those. Sometimes the 5-on-5 matches could be a little long at times, but 4-on-4 I feel they go quicker. You know, that they're faster. We had 10 matches on this pay-per-view. Incredible. In less than 3 hours. So first up, to open the show, we got a 4-on-4. We got Godfather D-Lo, who is dressed up like a pimp, Godfather's brother. We got the Headbangers with those guys, and they got like afros on, and they're dressed like the Godfather as well. So, you know, the Headbangers always did fun stuff. You know, at was that the Rumble or Mania? They Rumble 2000. They come out with these giant cones on their chest, and they're taking on the Dudley Boys and the Acolytes. So the Dudley Boys' first pay-per-view appearance here. Very good match overall. So Bradshaw hits the clothesline from hell to Thrasher. He's the first one eliminated. The Dudley Boys with the 3D to Mosh. Mosh is gone, so the Headbangers are quickly eliminated. JBL grabs a chair, and he is DQ'd. So it comes down to the Godfather and I think Farouk. No, Devon and Farouk fight backstage. And it must be Bubba Ray. So Ho Train and the Lowdown combo for a 3 count, and Godfather and D'Lo Brown celebrating with the women. I always knew when the Godfather's matches were coming on, because you would see Tim White in the ring, and he's probably one of my all-time favorite refs, Tim White. Second match of the night is the WWF debut, pay-per-view debut of Kurt Angle, the Olympic gold medalist. But it's also the debut of Shawn Stasiak. A lot of people forget to mention that, so thought I'd give Shawn Stasiak his credit here. This is a solid match. overall. We get a Kurt Angle vignette before the match with you know, I'm a gold medalist and all this stuff. Very cool. Good match overall. You know, it's a very technical wrestling type match. The fans here are booing Kurt Angle out of the building, and I'm pretty sure he was supposed to be a face here, but they are not happy with Kurt. If he was supposed to be a heel, he pulled it off pretty good, because they did not like him. You know, in this initial match, I mean, like, eventually, you know, in like early 2000, he was definitely a heel, but I'm pretty sure he was supposed to be the face. Olympic Slam gets the win, and Kurt Angle picks up a good victory here, and he would go on to have one of the greatest rookie years in company history, winning every major championship. Third match of the night, another 4-on-4 match. Val Venis, Mark Henry, Gangrel, Steve Blackman. You know, that's a really good team put together here. They're taking on the British Bulldog and the Mean Street Posse. British Bulldog is the European champion here, so no titles defended in a lot of Survivor Series. Only the WWE title and the IC title were defended here. This is not a good match at all. Bulldog is not in the best shape he's been in. The Mean Street Posse are inexperienced wrestlers. But Mark Henry and Val Venis end up being the sole survivors after a money shot to win the match. Fourth match of the night would be a sudden death women's Survivor Series match. 4-on-4, but first pinfall gets the win. This was not good. With teams of the Fabulous Moolah, Mae Young, Terry Runnels, and Deborah versus Ivory, Luna. Oh, it was Mae, Moolah, Tori, and Deborah versus Ivory, Luna, Terry Runnels, and Jacqueline. So the second team, much better than the first team. You know, the Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young are 75 years old here. That is just incredible. I did not think they were that old here. They're actually 76. Could you imagine that if they let some guys still come back and compete at 76 years old today? I mean, the Rock and Roll Express are doing it, but I mean, I really don't want to see many guys wrestling into their 60s and 70s. No offense, but the game's changed a lot these days. And this was embarrassing to see the Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young here winning. You know, Mae hits a scoop slam. She gets the 3 count, and very short match. Nothing against Mae or Moolah, but, you know, their times had definitely way past them by this point at 76 years old. You know, there's got to be a point of when to stop. You know, maybe 65 is a good point. Fifth match of the night, the only single, or the first singles match of the night, X-Pac versus Cain. I thought this was a decent match. It didn't get good reviews from Meltzer or anyone. You know, good back and forth. X-Pac had recently turned his back on Cain, so this had good story going to it. Those guys were a rockin' tag team throughout '99, and, you know, became tag team champions. X-Pac made Cain into a human. He humanized Cain, and then he turned his back on Cain. I wish they would have saved this for WrestleMania 2000. They could have came up with some sort of teams here with X-Pac and Cain. Good back and forth. Road Dogg is interfering here. X Factor to Cain. Cain goes for the tombstone, but Triple H runs in hits Cain with the title, and we get a DQ finish. I thought this was a good call, and you extend the feud. Unfortunately, they really didn't play it up like I wanted them to. After the match, it's 3-on-1 with X-Pac, Triple H, and the Road Dogg putting the boots to Cain. Tori gets in the ring here, and she gets a big old spinning heel kick from X-Pac. So this was done well. Putting the heat on X-Pac, and Cain is just furious. 6th match of the night. Probably the weaker of the 10 matches on this show. It's 4-on-1. The Big Show versus like a modified corporate ministry type stable here. You got the Big Boss Man, who I believe is the hardcore champion. And if I did forget to mention, Ivory was the women's champ. You got Big Boss Man, Midian Viscera, and Prince Albert. So Prince Albert was aligned with Boss Man after, Draws had his accident. Which, I felt bad because Albert and Draws, that was a cool tag team. I liked what those guys were doing. So Big Show actually takes his partners out on Sunday Night Heat. It's Kai and Tai and, who was it there? Oh, the Blue Meanie and Kai and Tai, yeah. Big Show just puts the boots to these guys in the locker room, and they're unable to compete in tonight's match. So Big Show goes at it alone. Pretty much choke slam, eliminating the 3 guys, and the Big Boss Man cowers out of there, and Big Show is the winner of the match. I forgot to mention this earlier, but where was that? So before that 4-on-1 match, The Rock was about to cut a promo. He gets interrupted by Triple H, and they get pulled apart. After the match, they're about to interview Austin, and yeah, this is where that's going. Austin is quickly interrupted by Triple H. I don't even think he gets a word out. And the chase leads out to the parking lot. And this is where Austin gets run down by Rikishi, or who would become Rikishi later on. This is, I think, where they killed the pay-per-view. But it did get saved at one point, I'll admit. But I think they took a lot of steam out of that building at this point. They didn't need to go to this extent, and whether that was McMahon's idea or Russo was gone by then, if that was Austin's idea, if he wanted to have some type of storyline exit, we'll never know. I don't think they've really covered that deep into this, but it was actually really shocking to hear for the first time when this happened. It's, one of those things, you don't really know if it was real or they scripted it, Back then, there wasn't a ton of dirt sheets. There wasn't, all these guys on Twitter and Facebook and everything, reporting everything that happens. So this was probably a big time storyline. Austin getting run down on pay-per-view before this, huge triple threat match. So yeah, they got JR leaves the announce desk to go out there. You got McMahon, DX, they're all around that area. And Mr. McMahon leaves the arena. He goes with Stone Cold to the hospital or whatever they called it back then. Might have been a medical facility. But 7th match of the night, Chris Jericho versus Chyna for the Intercontinental Championship. Chyna in her first pay-per-view title defense. This was a pretty good match. I felt like they really got the crowd into it at a point where I felt like they weren't really buying it at first, but they kind of got them towards the end there. Good match. Where I think Jericho grabs the title at one point, gets a 2 count for it. Chyna is using the pedigree at this point still. She hits that for a 2 count. Walls of Jericho, and Chyna gets to the ropes. Pedigree from the top rope for 3, and Chyna retains the title. We got Miss Kitty out here. Jerry Lawler is just going crazy. Puppies and kittens was a big thing in this time. So, really good IC title match. I felt like 1999, the IC title matches have really been average up to this point. So, in 2000, we're really going to start rolling the ball with some really good IC title matches again. Triple H is seen in Shane McMahon's office, and he's saying, well, Austin's out of here. It's no longer a triple threat, right? He's like, Shane McMahon, he doesn't know. His father's not here, but he's saying, we're probably going to get a suitable replacement for Austin. And I believe Mr. McMahon was actually supposed to be the ref. So, 8th match of the night. I actually enjoyed this one quite a bit. It's the Holly Cousins and Too Cool versus Edge, Christian, and the Hardys. Really cool match. This is, I think, also the first appearance of Too Cool since their gimmick change. So, we're getting a lot of new, refreshed gimmicks here. Too Cool in, 97, 98 was not good. They were a below average tag team. And here I think they really stepped their game up. This one comes down to, I think, a 3-on-1 almost. Because Edge and Matt Hardy get eliminated quick. A 450 by Jeff Hardy to Scotty 2 Hotty. He's out of there. A hip hop drop to Jeff Hardy for 3. Christian hits the reverse DDT to Grandmaster Sexay, and he's gone. Christian eliminates Crash, and then the Hardcore Holly blocks the victory roll, and he gets the 3. So Christian put up quite a fight there at the end, which was really fun. 9th match of the night. I guess there was a tag title match here. The New Age Outlaws, who newly won the titles here, versus Mick Foley and Al Snow. Yeah, this was a thing in late 99, which I think I completely forgot about. I think since Rock went and challenged for the WWF title, Al Snow was Rock's replacement somehow, which I don't think I ever enjoyed, just because Foley and Al Snow were friends. But decent match. Spike Piledriver and the Outlaws retain the title. This was okay. This was definitely towards the end of the Outlaws run. And as we see here, at this point in time, DX controls most of the championships. They got the tag titles and the WWF title. Chyna, who is not... I don't think she was really affiliated with this version of DX, which is weird. Because a month or so prior, she was with Triple H. All of a sudden, it's DX versus the McMahons. And Chyna is really nowhere to be seen with these guys. I may be wrong, but I believe on after No Mercy, it was pretty much the end of Triple H and Chyna. And I thought that was cool. They were both champions. I thought they would have been, they could have done cool things with that. Because Chyna got Miss Kitty, and Triple H, he went with DX again. 10th match of the night, and the main event for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. Triple H defending against The Rock and The Big Show. yeah, that's your main event. This was right after they did the Big Show's father's funeral with the Big Boss Man. You know, he buried his father on that past Thursday. This is a pretty good match. But overall, I don't think it was the right way to end this pay-per-view. I don't think anyone paid to go see the Big Show win the championship here. And he's one of my favorites. I was legit surprised to learn that the Big Show win the title here. We got People's Elbow early on in the match. This was still before The Rock's using that as a finish full time. Triple H makes the save of the count. They brawl up the stage into the crowd area. Double suplex to the Big Show through the Spanish announce table. Pedigree, which is countered by The Rock. And we get a rock bottom here. Shane McMahon runs in as the replacement ref and only gets a 2 count out of here. Pedigree to Shane. We got a DX running. Vince ends up showing up. So he's back from the hospital. And belt shot to Triple H. Chokeslam by the Big Show. Vince counts the 3 count. And we got a new WWF champion, the Big Show. 2 hours, 40 minutes, 10 matches on this show. They mentioned before this pay-per-view that we had 2 new champions. The past couple of years, the title had changed hands. The title actually changed hands the past, 5, 6 Survivor Series? 94, 5, 6, 7, 8. The past 5 Survivor Series. You count this one, 6 years in a row, the WWF title changes hands. Pretty cool, actually, to know that they went on this run. And, the screw job is kind of its own thing, but after that, they really try to come up with these Survivor Series screw jobs every year. Decent match. I don't think Meltzer liked this pay-per-view that much. He gives the main event 2.5 stars, which I'd probably agree with. Favorite match of the night might be that Hardy's Too Cool match. Edge Christian, the Hardys versus the Hollys and Too Cool. I thought that was a pretty fun match. It doesn't get that great of ratings, but I'm giving it 6 out of 10. I think this is fair. No Mercy was a fantastic show, and Survivor Series being, their big 5 of the year, it didn't really deliver. I think Austin being run down hurt the momentum of the show. They kind of recovered there, but they really ended on a stinker. So, episode 33 is going to be Armageddon 99. I'm actually looking forward to this show. It's been a while since I've watched this. Triple H and Mr. McMahon. You got China versus Jericho. The Rock and Sock versus the Outlaws. So this is going to be a fun show to go back and watch. And then we're going to get into 2000, my favorite year, with WrestleMania 2000, the Rumble. We got Fully Loaded. All kinds of cool stuff going on in 2000. Backlash and Judgment Day 2000. Pretty stacked year for the WWF. And, of course, I'm going to be continuing the In Your House reviews. Number 2, In Your House 2 will be coming up. So let me know your thoughts on Survivor Series 99. And we'll talk to you later. Peace.